In lieu of the recent announcement of Final Fantasy VII Revelations getting its release date for spring of 2027, I've been in a little bit of a Final Fantasy mood. I sat back down and finished my most recent playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake literally just a day before recording this, and then finished the Yuffie DLC in one sitting because it is just that good. But I do want to talk more generally about Final Fantasy VII going forward, so that when I do end up streaming Revelations or whatever we end up doing for that, nobody's surprised, because I absolutely adore this franchise with my heart. I love Final Fantasy VII Remake, the trilogy. So far, it's one of my favorite experiences in gaming. It's literally within the top echelon of my top 5 easily, and that's that's saying a lot. There's been a lot of switching around when it comes to my top 5. And Final Fantasy VII is absolutely up there. And it always has been in a way, right? Final Fantasy VII has been with me since I was a kid. I loved the aesthetics. I loved the characters, even, with the polygon designs, but even, when they got more modernized, playing Dissidia Final Fantasy on the PSP, I put dummy hours into that. Obviously, Cloud's involvement and just general Final Fantasy's involvement in Kingdom Hearts really, really sunk into me too. You know what I'm saying? So it's just an exciting franchise, and I am beyond hyped for Revelations. I have my reactions up on second channel somewhere, or this channel, sorry, I forgot which channel I'm recording for, in my live tab if you want to go see my reactions from the Summer Games Fest. But I'm excited, I'm stupid excited. So Revelations is on its way. I'm going to be making a lot of Final Fantasy VII related content at some point, starting with this, right? So Revelations is essentially almost around the corner, and it is baffling to see that we got announcements for Square Enix's big 3 in Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts, and Final Fantasy, all within the span of a couple of weeks from one another. So I'm on cloud 9 right now. I'm so excited for all of them. It's not even funny. Mostly Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, but Dragon Quest is, Dragon Quest kind of can get up there too. I gotta do a little bit of revisiting of the franchise. I definitely need to pick up the HD 2Ds, but that's off topic, right? Upon finishing Final Fantasy VII Remake again, obviously they did a lot of changes and, editing to make it so that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth started to feel more open, more fluid. There's a lot of massive differences that I can now really appreciate going into Rebirth from Remake, but also there are a couple of downsides as well. I'm going to be saying and repeating a little bit of this in my primary, revisited review major video that's coming out later, but I really have noticed that the linearity in Final Fantasy VII Remake served a really, really good purpose in, really honing in on just spectacle and graphical capabilities at the time, especially in Intergrade. You could just see just how much detail and care and love they put into Midgar as a whole, and just every event felt so theatrical, right? And it's not like it didn't feel that way in Rebirth. Things definitely felt special, but because it was so open, things just didn't feel as tight-knit in a way. It feels and sounds kind of ridiculous to even say, but I'm sure that there's a couple of you out there that have played both relatively recently and definitely get it. But maybe I'm being dramatic. It's been a minute since I've played Rebirth, and I'm going to literally start playing Rebirth today for the second time ever. I haven't played Rebirth in almost 2 years now or something. It's been a while since I played through Rebirth. So thinking on all of the mechanics and stuff that was introduced in the first one, obviously, as a, active time battle system with its, real-time battles, and then, improving on that in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was really, really just spectacular to see. I always, just playing through the game again, I was just like, wow, I forgot how generally good this game feels, and then it feels even better in Rebirth. It's so incredible, you know what I'm saying? And all of the systems that they have in place, it's literally just improving upon it and adding, new stories and new places to explore. And it's really something. It's really something to behold. So yeah, I am bizarrely excited for Revelations to see what kind of mechanics they introduce and things like that. But of course, we still have quite some time before we see any more of Revelations. Maybe we'll see some at TGS or TGA, excuse me, in December or something like that. So we'll have to play it by ear. Maybe even Tokyo Game Show. That's why I was, you see what I'm saying? So we'll see when we see it. But I really wanted to talk about some of the early hopes that I have in regards to Final Fantasy VII Revelations, and this does probably seem a little bit premature to do, only because, again, I haven't played Rebirth in a little while, so my memory on, like, the mechanics and stuff like that that were improved and weren't improved as much as I would have liked are a little fuzzy. So I'll definitely revisit this topic after I've played Rebirth and do kind of like a things that we could learn from Rebirth video, right? So we'll get back into this similar topic eventually, but for now I'm going solely based on memory and, you know, just recent memory of replaying Remake as to what I would like to see going into Final Fantasy VII Revelations, right? So the first primary thing that I have here, one thing that I do know for a fact is not available in either, is a transmog option for weaponry and for potentially anything else that we might have, you know, options to decorate and outfit ourselves with within the game, right? Now, here's the thing, upon replay, I really come to understand, like, that upgrade system that they have in place there, and it really does, it's very, very good that they have a situation in which, you know, not every weapon is just outright better. There are some weapons that have more advantages than others, but here's the thing, I hate this about myself, but the Buster Sword is one of my favorite weapons in all of fiction, right next to the Keyblade and the Monado, and it is so incredibly hard for me to have to take that weapon off just so that I could have a more optimal setup going into another fight, or to, you know, get the proficiency up for the attack that I'm trying to learn from a specific weapon, right? So when it comes to, you know, transmogging, I really do want a situation in which I could still outfit myself with the Buster Sword, have it still look like the Buster Sword, but I could still potentially be wearing other, you know, weapons and stuff like that, whether it be the Twin Stinger or the Iron Blade or whatever other new weapons we end up getting in Revelations. I want to be able to just outfit myself and see, you know, the Buster Sword, right? But obviously, you know, I think that applies to other characters as well. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see, you know, Barrett's regular schmegular gun on him. You know what I'm saying? That weapon is hard as hell. Looks kind of ridiculous when I have to switch it up to, like, you know, I mean, I don't know. I like Big Bertha. Big Bertha is actually really fitting, but I don't know if we're going to see that weapon in Revelations. But I do want to be able to just generally outfit the team how I want to outfit the team. And I think having the transmog option where we can wear whatever we want, but it doesn't affect what the character is actually wearing, is kind of ideal. That's kind of an ideal mechanic that I want to see in pretty much every RPG that I play, because that's the whole thing with RPGs, is that, you know, you have that situation in which you outfit yourself with the goofiest looking fit imaginable because it has the best potential stats for your character going into, like, hard fights and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I just want a transmog options, especially if we're getting a more dedicated appearance and outfit system in Revelations, which we have seen already. We did see it in that trailer that we do have access to. It literally has a name for it. I have to go back through the trailer eventually at some point. I gotta sit down with it again, but we do have a dedicated outfit system, which is great. That's phenomenal. But, you know, I want to be able to still wear what I want to wear, right? So I don't know, maybe that's asking for a lot, but we'll have to see on that one, right? But that's my first primary wish here. The second one is actually about that very customization mechanic, in which we can have an abundance of those outfits that we can wear anywhere at any time. I want to wear whatever I want, whenever I want. You know what I'm saying? And it's been a minute since I played Rebirth. I know that you had the option on one of the, you know, like, regions to be able to swap your outfit to, like, the summer fits and stuff like that, which is very neat, very cool. I don't remember if you're able to take that off the island, or if you were to leave via boat or wherever you were to go, if you wanted to go revisit other regions or islands or whatever, that you would have to go back into your regular fits, which, you know, the regular fits are fine and stuff like that, but, you know, I don't recall if you were able to change your outfits via menu, and I don't think you were, which is why you would specifically have to go through what was available in the little changing rooms that they would have scattered out throughout that one island, right? So I want to simply have more options completely accessible to us throughout the entirety of the playthrough. If I want to wear Tifa's little dress that she's got on that she showed off in the trailer wherever I want, and I want to see it in cutscenes and stuff like that, even if if it's not fitting, I want to be able to have that option. Same with Cloud's fits, same with, you know, Barret and I almost said Aerith. Yikes, brother, yikes. That's crazy. Yuffie, you know what I'm saying? I just want more options, right? And again, you know, maybe I missed a mechanic or something like that in Rebirth where you could change your outfit anytime you wanted. I just simply do not recall being able to do that off that one particular region. So hopefully we can have that fit system consistently and we can wear those outfits anywhere. And apparently they literally have actual like upgrades and stuff for you. It completely changes playstyles, maybe? I don't know, I have to look more into it, but I do recall it doing something very special. So hopefully that's a consistent thing that we can have, right? So that's my second major wish. My third one is we're leaning more into specific like gameplay aspects and stuff like that, kind of. No, not even really, right? Just the world in of itself. I really hope that new areas like Wutai, for example, are actually fun to navigate and explore. Right? Because one of the biggest problems that people had with Rebirth are two things. One of them we'll get into in a bit, but one of the other primary ones was the way exploration was handled, especially in very specific areas like Gungaga. Gungaga was, that was atrocious to navigate. It was a living nightmare to try and navigate through Gungaga on my first playthrough. I was like, what is happening with these roads, with these like scattered areas? It was a nightmare. It was so not fun, right? And I can admit that now sitting back on it, right? I'm about to go back through Rebirth, and I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to the least, is going back to Gungaga, you know? And that really sucks to admit to myself too, because I do still love Rebirth. I absolutely adore Rebirth as a game, but I do think it's gonna get to a point where I'm gonna end up frustrated with Gungaga, and I'm gonna have to put the controller down because navigating through that mess is gonna be, but I mean, I don't know, maybe it won't be as bad now that I have a better idea of what I'm getting into, and you know, guides are a lot more abundant now because I played that sucker like, I got to Gungaga fast as hell on my first playthrough, so there wasn't really a lot of like good navigational like tips and tricks and stuff like that online at the time, and I tried not to look into it either, but this time around I want to do everything. But regardless, I just hope that they have a set way to make it so that, not a set way per se, but I hope the design team really took into account like what was going on with Gungaga and other areas like it, and made it so that we have, you know, all these new areas that we're going to go into and explore, like Wutai, for example, that are going to be a lot more fun and interesting to, you know, see set pieces of and get side quests out of, and just generally be able to navigate for secret treasures and hidden bosses and the like, right? So I just really hope that, you know, all these areas that we're going to be visiting from the Highwind are a lot more fun to explore, right? One thing, another thing that I just came up with right now, actually, is that I hope that we have a system in place on the Highwind that where we can like build relationships with all the different characters. We could take on like side quests and stuff from them specifically, you know, if Sid has somewhere that he needs to go back to or whatever, just a quick visit somewhere, we could go help him out with his quests, you know. Vincent maybe wants to go, you know, have a little side quest with the Turks or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like we could have some real fun with that kind of a situation, right? I really want to be able to have the Highwind as our primary. I imagine it's going to be that very situation where we do have the Highwind as our hub, and we're actually able to like walk around, talk to teammates, do little tasks here and there, and maybe even get cool rewards out of it, get side quests and stuff like that specifically from the cast, where, like, you know, if they want to go back and visit somewhere, then they can, right? If we, you know, I'm sure one of the first things we're gonna hopefully end up doing, maybe, it's been a while, I haven't gotten too far in the original Final Fantasy VII to see how things end up when you get to the Highwind. It's been a very long time, but, you know, I would love a little story side quest thing where, you know, you talk to Barret and he's just like, you know, we got this airship now, like, can I go back and see my daughter? You know what I'm saying? I want to go see Marlene, right? So it's just like, I don't know. I want them to really take advantage of the Highwind and make that feel like a true hub and make it a cozy place to just exist. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully the music is good for that area, for the Highwind. I want it to be as cozy as humanly possible, and I want to be able to, you know, organize all my stuff there. You know what I'm saying? I want to have a place where you can, you know, organize your fits, organize your weapons and your materia and everything, right? So hopefully, you know, they are cooking up something real fun with the Highwind, and you can just kind of drop off wherever, like it is the battle bus in Fortnite. Where are we dropping, Tifa? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I hope they're cooking with that. I really do. Right. Moving on. I want a good balance of mini games this time around, right? Because here's the thing. Okay, I know a lot of people were like, there was a big fight, I remember, on like Twitter and stuff like that, or just general discussions surrounding Rebirth, that the mini games this time around were simply too much, right? And that's the thing. The mini games are optional for the most part, but not if you want to get like through. There's certain side quests where you have to play some of those dumbass mini games. And there was that one annoying ass mini game where you were in, oh my god, what region was that? Where we were trying to get the full story on what was going on with Wedge. And that mini game, oh my god, it was just not fun. It was just not a fun mini game at all. But I had to fight through it, you know what I'm saying? I was up at like 2-3 a.m. trying to fight through the last section of that mini game just to get the full side quest done and get the full story on Wedge and stuff like that. I was irritated out of my mind. But once I got through it and I realized I never had to play it again, I was golden, baby. I was not having a bad time after that. But there are a lot of minigames in Rebirth, and I know a lot of people are like, hey, you know, you better get used to it because Final Fantasy VII Revelations is probably going to be just as bad. There's a snowboarding minigame immediately after, you know what I'm saying, the end of, you know, where it would have ended in the original Final Fantasy VII. So, you know, prep up. But it's like, I feel like hopefully they've taken into account like how much of an abundance of minigames there needs to be and how many of them need to be mandatory. I pray that, you know, there aren't too many mandatory minigames like that situation there that completely hinder my progress, especially if they're not fun. Like I can live right with that one. I remember Fort Condor got on my nerves after a certain point. I liked Fort Condor a lot. I love Fort Condor. It is literally Clash Royale. It's such a good time, but oh my god, Jesus Christ. And then obviously I don't know if Queen's Blood is making a return, but if it does, oh boy, I literally, like, that's the thing, right? By the end of Rebirth, when I got access to the entire world and there were so many things waiting for me in terms of side quests and mini games and Queen's Blood, I was like, I can't do it. I just need to see the end of the story now, and I just did not bother. You know what I'm saying? I really hope I don't feel that excessive burnout like I did with Rebirth by the end, because I will admit I did feel a little bit of a hefty burnout by that time I reached the end, right? And I still love that game for what it is, and I think I'm definitely going to enjoy it my second time through because I'm rushing a lot less, and I'll be able to, you know, really take my time with every individual little tidbit of mini game or whatever happens to be available here. So, you know, I don't think it's going to be nearly as stressful to get through, but I do think I'm still going to feel that initial, like, oh my god, like, okay, there's still so much to do before we get to the end here, and that's definitely, I'm definitely going to feel that exhaust. I know I will, but, you know, hopefully they've cleaned up a little bit in the, you know, mini games act and, you know, really honed down on, you know, focusing on the fun of the mini games and just the overabundance of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were a lot of mini games, and I know that they were all optional, and I did go out of my way to play them because I wanted to fully experience the game as much as I could before I got to the end. You know what I'm saying? Before I got to that final point where I was just like, I just need to see the game end now. But hopefully, by the time we do get to Revelations, there isn't a situation where I feel like that, and those mini games aren't as stressful to get through. You know what I'm saying? So we'll have to play that one by ear, but that's how I am feeling about that. All right. Now, again, it's been a minute since I played Rebirth, right? But I did just recently finish, literally within the last hour of recording this video, I finished the Yuffie DLC, and I recall, like, having a lot of fun with it, but I forgot how fun the combat is, especially with Yuffie and Sonon. That combat is so good. Like, I think it was definitely like a prelude to what we would end up receiving in Rebirth, because I do remember the combat feeling so much better in Rebirth, because, you know, big open spaces and stuff like that. They had a lot more freedom to let them jump around and do a lot more. But I didn't realize how fun it was to have like a dedicated connected character like Sonon to Yuffie, so that they could focus heavily on the combos that they could do between the two of them, right? Having it so that there's an entire materia where you could just casually do crazy combos together with Yuffie and Sonon was such a brilliant move, you know what I'm saying? And I really, really hope that we get more stuff like that in Revelations. Now, again, it's been a minute since Rebirth. I think there might be some stuff like that, but I don't think it's as, like, you know, as dedicated as it was in the Intergrade DLC, right? So hopefully we do have, you know, more heavily dedicated, you know, like in combo team ups and stuff like that. Like, obviously we have like the special team ups and stuff like that I recall that were perfect. Those were phenomenal. Those were so much fun. You know what I'm saying? Barret and Aerith with their little, like, her putting on the sunglasses and shooting magic with Barret is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? Barret and Red have their combos. Tifa and Barret, Tifa and Aerith, Tifa and Cloud, Cloud and Red, Cloud and Barret. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was such a phenomenal blend. You know what I'm saying? Kate Sith, Yuffie, and all of them, like, all the blend between all the combos were super, super good. Hopefully we get more in depth with that and we have it, you know, implemented in their everyday combos as well. But again, maybe I'm missing something. If it isn't Rebirth, I just hope that it is improved in Revelations. It's been a minute, but we gonna jump back in. We gonna revisit this topic, right? After that, I don't believe this was a thing in Rebirth either, but, you know, playing through Remake, there were times where I was just like, can I swap Cloud out from the party just this once? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to see what it would, you know, I would just love to play as just like, you know, Barret, Tifa, and Aerith. You know what I'm saying? Because there were times where they just had to straight up shut out Barret to make room for Tifa and Aerith. You know what I'm saying? And now we're gonna have such a big party. We have such a big party now with Cloud, Tifa, Barret, Red, Vincent, Cid, Kate Sith, Yuffie. Like, it's so much. That is such a big. I'm at the point now where I'm about to ask for like a 4th slot, man. Let 4 of us be on the field. Like, please let 4 of us be on the field at once, just so we can have at least half the party with us, for Christ's sakes, because there's gonna be so many characters that I feel are gonna get neglected if I'm not swapping out consistently, and I don't want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Especially because, you know, with Vincent and Cid, like, I'm gonna be using those two like nobody's business, especially Vincent. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I want to be able to swap out, you know, a lot of members, but the best way to be able to do something like that is to also be able to comfortably swap out Cloud. Now, Final Fantasy does this good thing throughout the story where you do get, you know, when you're locked into story stuff, they do remove Cloud and certain characters from the situation so that you are forced to, you know, utilize a character that you may not be utilizing nearly as much, like Yuffie and stuff like that. So I just hope that, you know, we do have a good blend of that, but also when we're out in the overworld and we're just doing piss all, we could swap out comfortably, you know what I'm saying? But then again, they might have had that in Rebirth and I'm just misremembering here. But, you know, hopefully it's a lot more, you know, obvious and abundant in Revelations as well. Okay. And then the last thing that I have written here is simply that the story's ending does give us something unique that completely treads the path from the original that we weren't expecting. I want to see something completely unexpected. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm gonna finish Rebirth and then I'm gonna go back through Final Fantasy VII Original again, right? Because it's been a while since I played that and I never finished the game in of itself, even though I adore that game for what it is. I love its systems, I love its mechanics, and I still love its story, and I love how goofy it is too, especially with the polygon designs and stuff like that. It's such a good time. But, you know, I really, really, really hope that, you know, it does get braver and it does tread the path off of. I mean, that's what we've been leading into, right? The entire, like, one of the main primary, like, themes of this entire trilogy is essentially defying fate, right? Like, getting into the remake, you know, everybody had the same idea, like, oh, okay, like, yeah, this is just the modern version of Final Fantasy VII, like, this is what it would look like in modern day, and we're going to be following a set path. We already know the, you know, the outcome of all these characters. We've known them for almost 30 plus years, almost 30 years now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to be able to see what they do with the ending of this story. I want to see something ridiculous. Now, obviously, we are treading on that path. I'm sure future me or Editor Soul added a spoiler warning, right? But because I'm just yammering, you know. We've had Rebirth for a very long time, so if anybody's playing through it right now and you haven't seen the ending of it, you know, be careful. But you know what's going on with like Zack and his realm, you know, after the ending of Rebirth, we're definitely leading into a very, very different story here, and I really hope that is the case. Simple as that. I just really hope it does conclude with something completely fresh and new. And, you know, it gives us, you know, a reason to always revisit the original and see how they diverge from that path, right? So, anyhow, I think that just about wraps it up for this one. I'm super excited for Revelations. Again, I am going to be making a revisited video that's going to be big on this channel very, very soon. And I'm going to be doing the exact same thing with Rebirth down the line. Probably within the month, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully you guys are down to stick around for that, because I really do want to talk more about Final Fantasy in general, you know what I'm saying? But I have a lot of games to play too, so we'll play that by ear. But for now, I'm passing the mic over to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Are you also excited for Revelations? Are you hoping that some of the stuff that I've mentioned here is definitely something that's primary and present going into Revelations, and that's something that you would be excited about? Or are you on the opposing side? You are not feeling that way about Revelations at all. You either don't care about anything that I've mentioned here, or just generally don't care what they bring to the table with Revelations. It's just not interesting to you. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just so. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.